Like most George Romero fans, I had never heard of the film that was once thought to be lost for decades, The Amusement Park, until a couple years ago. This is a film that first started off as an educational film commissioned by the Lutheran Service Society of Western Pennsylvania. Romero had directed the film for the church back in 1973. The film did have a few screenings here and there, but then quickly faded from public view not long after, and was thought to be lost until a 16mm copy of the film was discovered shortly before Romero's passing in 2017. The film stars Lincoln Maazel, who is best known for playing Tada Kuda in Romero's masterpiece, Martin. This story is a sincere, surreal, and striking examination of what this society does, dismissively, thoughtlessly, and cruelly, to our elders. Lincoln Maazel plays an elderly man who goes to an amusement park and hopes to have just a good and fun day. But that day turns out to be a day of days, a day filled with the worst kind of lessons that no one needs to go through. This amusement park is a microcosm of society itself in the way how it often goes ahead and criticizes and derides and strips away the dignity of our elders. You have this one scene where Lincoln Maazel's character goes on a bumper cart ride. There is a elderly couple nearby also riding bumper cars who is erroneously blamed for causing an accident. The one who makes the mistake is Romero himself, who plays an asshole bumper car driver who mistakenly says that the elderly couple bumped into him. Maazel's character witnessed the crash between the elderly couple and Romero, and when he goes ahead and tells a policeman who arrives on the scene about who was the actual cause of the accident, that the elderly couple was not to blame, all of a sudden his testimony is discredited because he wasn't wearing his glasses at the time where he saw the incident goes down. Even though what he saw was actually correct, the cop doesn't believe him and disregards him and dismisses him, and it is definitely the beginning of a series of deflating and dispiriting moments throughout the film. Among the numerous injustices that either Maazel himself or other elderly people in the movie suffer, there is a scene where Maazel's character goes ahead and goes to, it's not a restaurant, but basically he goes to some place in the park where he can get something to eat, and the waiter just basically doesn't really pay him any attention, or he just pays an embarrassed amount of attention. And while there is another elderly person who the waiter gives him all the attention, but he gives him all the attention because he may be elderly, but he's also wealthy. So he lavishes this elder, tycoon or whatever, with anything he wants, while Maazel just gets the basic bottom of the barrel service. He gives this elderly tycoon the most exquisite, most lavish meal, and he gives Maazel just this plate of, I don't even know what it is. It's like bread and stuff. Like, it looks like slop. And then when Maazel decides, you know what, I've had enough of this. Yeah, I don't want to let this food go to waste. He decides to, give his meal to other elderly people in need who are hungry. But as soon as the other elderly people come in and try to eat Maazel's meal, the waiter all of a sudden gets irate, you can't be eating this meal, even though Maazel paid for the meal. You can do what he wants with the meal, but it's nah, all of you, elderly people, you gotta go. You have this other scene where Maazel's character goes ahead and tries to buy some food, but the groceries are just too many, the bags are too heavy, so he, instead of walking away with what he originally selected in terms of groceries. He's only able to carry, I think, like some crackers and some peanut butter, and then eat that. And then when he tries to go ahead and, like, again, he's a generous soul, Mazel's character. So he sees some kids in the park and he's like, hey, how about some peanut butter and crackers? Some other people at the park, they see Mazel and they think he's some dirty old man who has some, just not good intentions with the children. And they basically like, hey, get out of here, get out of here. And then there's another scene which doesn't directly involve Mazel at first, which involves a young couple. The man is played by Michael Gornick, who actually did cinematography for Romero in films like Day of the Dead, and he plays the one half of this couple who go ahead and see a fortune teller, and they ask the fortune teller, what their future will be, and so the fortune teller tells them. She gets a vision of them way into the future where they're both elderly, and it's a really like heartbreaking scene. Like the woman who I think eventually becomes Michael Gornick's wife, like she's like tending to him. Michael Gornick's character is like, looks like he may be dying, and she's trying to get help for him, but nobody's listening. Like the doctor's not listening to her, even though she's like pleaded with him, my husband needs help, he needs help, my partner needs help. When she tries to go ahead and make a phone call, like she's like, eventually she runs out of dimes to go ahead and make these phone calls. She's pleading to get change, just a dime. She can go ahead and contact the doctor to save her husband. Like basically she's getting help for no one. She's living in this dilapidated building that's falling apart, and it doesn't exactly have the most safest of surroundings, and she's just getting no help. Her husband's getting no help. And so basically, once the young couple hears about their future that they can't escape due to a large part them being elderly, Michael Gornick like steps out of the tent, the fortune teller's tent. He sees Mazel's character and he just punches him like for no reason. And it's just it's a really, it's a tough scene to watch. And I believe the reason why he punches him, because it's like, he reminds him, Michael Gornick's character, like Mazel reminds him of what he will be, at some point in the future. And instead of like, doing things to like, it's the system that screwed him and his wife in the future, and instead of like taking action now, or at least what was then the present, to make sure he and his wife don't have that future by going ahead and voting for the right people, making sure the right people are in charge and will do the right thing, he decides to take it out on the victim instead of the oppressor, which is something we keep seeing time and time and time again. Romero was definitely a very observant man, very thoughtful man, insightful man, and like he was talking about stuff back then. This film came out in '73, over 50 years ago, and stuff that we are seeing now. Like it turns like that is one scene with this landlord was in the flashback with well, not the flashback, but the flash forward with the young couple showing their old future, talking about he's talking to a reporter, and the reporter's like telling him about, the conditions of your building are like ratty and crummy, and he's given his reason is because like, taxes are too high, and he can't afford like the upkeep of the buildings. And I had just that same day, because I had watched the Amusement Park for the second time just yesterday. I had only seen it one other time before when it premiered on Shudder 5 years ago. And so yeah, just before I watched it yesterday, I saw this news report of talking about how landlords, they saying they can't make upkeep of their buildings due to, now it wasn't because of taxes, but basically the high cost of living. Like we're really living right now at this point in time where just everything has gone up ridiculously. So it's always been like this, inflation that never benefits the 99%. And yeah, they're just given the same reasons. Like basically the cost is why they're not able to do anything. Now, whether that's really a reality or not for all these landlords, it's a conversation for another day. But it's just like the same stuff that keeps happening. History keeps repeating itself. And the same thing with just like the elderly being mistreated. We're seeing that today. We're seeing crises that are happening inside, nursery homes. or similar types of places, and a lot of that's due to a number of things like nonsense like private equity and a shortage of like staff because they're not being properly paid. Again, all that's just a discussion for another day, getting into the details of it. But it's just like Romero was like ahead of his time with like whether it's this film or Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, with commentary about what's going on in society, or even stuff like the crazies with like biological hazards, ecological hazards that are affecting people, mass communities, and such. And yeah, Romero was talking about problems well before like the media at large, we're talking about. Romero was just incredibly insightful from the jump. As the day progresses, Mazel's character just continues to endure one hardship after another, one unnecessary hardship after another, just experiencing this day at this amusement park. And there's this one scene where he's being beaten up by bikers, and after being beaten up and robbed by these bikers, he's on the ground, he's collapsed, he's battered, he's bloodied, and there's a whole bunch of people who walk past him and nobody's helping him. Like there's no way they cannot see him, yet no one is helping him up, no one's helping him to get back on his feet. And eventually, he has to go ahead and stand up on his own and continuing this terrible trek through this park. And then I believe it's shortly after this scene. No, it's actually, I think it's shortly after the scene where he goes to this quote unquote, as the film says, freak show, where the supposed freaks are just elderly people just being on stage, and the people who are going to this freak show think that's like freakish, think that's like it's abominable. It's like such a horrific sight seeing elderly people just standing on a stage, and they're just standing on stage just wearing casual clothes and stuff. Like there's nothing freakish about them, there's nothing freakish about anyone. But it's just, I guess it's just like the scene's like a commentary of like, once you get old, like you just look like a freak, you just look awful, you just look unsightly, and just no, go ahead and get that surgery, get that Botox, get that whatever, take that TRT, you're not worth looking at unless you are beautiful and young, you're just a monstrous sight to behold. And when he's there, Mazel's character, he decides, I've had enough of this shit, and so he decides to leave. But then somebody in the audience, this younger guy, bigger guy, like basically like, hey, it's one of them, and they, the audience, they chase after Mazel's character, and he manages, to evade them, and he's just all spent and everything, emotionally spent, Mazel's character. And then he sees Sanctuary, this area in the park that says Sanctuary. But just as he reaches there, like he steps through the area, the Sanctuary area, happens to close. It's like, yeah, we're no more refuge here for the day. You gotta go somewhere else. And he's just further defeated. And I think after this scene, he comes across a young girl in the park with her mother, and she has the book of I think it's the Goldilocks and Three Bears, and she sees him and she asks Mazel, his character, to read the book, and he does, and he reads the book, and but as he's reading it, and he's getting like joy reading this book, like finally somebody who just I don't know, who isn't treating me like trash. But as he's reading it, like the mother, like just like she's aware that he's there, Mazel's character. And the reason why I keep calling Mazel's character doesn't have a name in the story. She just, just dismissive, very apathetic, and she's like decides, what, I'm tired of this old man, reading to my little girl or whatever, and we're just gonna go. And she pulls the little girl away, and he notices this Mazel, and like they're leaving, and he keeps on reading, but at a certain point, like he just stops, he just stops and he breaks down and he sobs, and it's a very, very heartrending scene. It's just like, what's the point? You know, why does everyone keep treating me this way? Like, I'm not asking for anything more than just to be seen and treated with dignity. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I just want to live. I just want to read a story. I just want to feel like I matter. That's all. And yeah, like like the amusement park is a truly like a heartbreaking tale, truly sad tale. The amusement park, and you know, one of the reasons why it really is just so devastating on an emotional level is that it's because it's all too real. You know, the way how, you know, our world treats those who live longer, the way treats those who don't die young. Like, that's the cost of like living past your youth. You know, you get mistreated. You know, you get defeated, you get derided, you know, you get discarded, you know, for the crime of not dying young, which is a very, very sad and pathetic thing. And I am not elderly, but you know, every year you live, you get closer and closer to being elderly. And just the older I'm getting, you know, the more clearer my vision is in the way how this world is, in the way that we are, and a lot of what I see just disgusts me. Particularly how we treat those, or how we often treat those, you know, the world treats those who have raised us, taught us, supported us, believed in us, and not everyone does this, of course. I don't do it. I mean, I try my best to be the best I can, you know, in general. But yeah, too many do. Too many don't do anything, but like they don't participate necessarily in, you know, in the horrors, you know, that this world, you know, commits to the elderly. But they just passively allow it to happen. And like it's just not right. Those who went ahead and, you know, like we stood on their shoulders and stuff, like, and they're in, you know, and they're in the final legs of their life, and we should be giving them the best, just like they did everything they could to give us the best when we were younger. We should be doing the same now that you know, they're older, and you know, and making it the best. Like, I mean, no one knows how long anybody lives, you know. But you know, on your way out, that's when you should be, or at least on your way to the final steps of your journey. That's when you should be treated the best. And unfortunately, not everyone does that. And and amusement park is commentary on that. It's just easily one of Romero's best works. Like, I really, like, I love this movie. Like, it's up there with Romero's finest stuff. It's easily like between Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Like, it's up there with Martin. Like, easy, like his best films of that particular era. More people should see this movie. I mean, most people don't even know this film even exists. There's still a lot of Romero fans out there who aren't aware of this gem of a movie. The Amusement Park is a fantastic work filled with potent pathos and a riveting performance by Lincoln Mazel, with powerful directing by George A. Romero.